So hi, everyone. Welcome to Cervena Barva Press Reads Around the World. And today we are focusing on Russian writers, Liliya Gazizova and Andrey Gritsman. And I'm really excited to have them both here today to share their poetry in Russian and in English. And I will read both their bios at the same time. Liliya Gazizova is a Russian poet of Tatar origin. She was born in Kazan, Russia, graduated from the Kazan Medical Institute and Moscow M. Gorky's Literature Institute. She is the author of 15 volumes of poetry published in Russia, Europe, and USA, and more than 300 publications of poetry, prose, and essays in prestigious Russian magazines. Her poems were translated into 7 European languages and anthologized. She compiled and edited an anthology of contemporary Russian free verse. Currently, she teaches Russian literature at Ergies University in Kayseri, Turkey. Andrey Grtisman is a native of Moscow. He immigrated to the US in 1981. He is a poet, writer, and essayist, works as a physician. He has published 8 volumes of poetry in Russian and 6 collections in English, received Pushcart Prize Honorable Mention, and was nominated for the Pushcart numerous times. His poems, essays, and short stories in English have appeared or are forthcoming in over 90 literary journals and anthologized. He received his MFA in poetry from Vermont College. He runs the Intercultural Poetry Series in New York City. He collected and edited an anthology called Stranger at Home. And I give you Liliya.
Thank you very much. Андрей, я начинаю читать на русском языке. Окей. Пожарная лестница. Я хочу сидеть на пожарной лестнице, куда убегала в детстве от мировой несправедливости в отдельно взятой семье, и смотреть вниз. Я хочу сидеть на пожарной лестнице и думать о чем-то отстраненном, например, о законах физики или о трагической судьбе Марии Стюарт. Но больше всего я хочу сидеть без затей на пожарной лестнице и думать только о том, как не упасть с нее.
Fire escape. I'd like to sit on a fire escape, where I would escape from the world's injustice in one individual family. I'd like to sit on a fire escape and think about something very remote, like laws of physics or the tragic fate of Maria Stuart. But most of all, I'd like to simply sit there and think only about how not to fall down from the fire escape.
Thank you. Закрытая дверь. Меня воспитала закрытая дверь в комнату моих родителей. Дверь провожала меня в школу. Она встречала меня и не задавала вопросы. Я пробовала обижаться, сдерживая всхлипывания. Дверь безучастно разглядывала меня. Я росла, дверь не открывалась, я перестала смотреть на нее, я перестала обижаться. С тех пор прохожу мимо любой закрытой двери.
Closed door. I was brought up by closed door to my parents' room. This door sent me off to school. It met me afterward and never asked any questions. I was trying to take offense, holding my soaps. This door was staring at me indifferently. I was growing up. I stopped looking at it and was not holding grudge anymore. Since then, I just pass any closed door.
Thank you. Буду смотрительницей маяка. Нет, лучше женой смотрителя маяка. Буду вставать на рассвете и готовить ему простую еду. Буду смотреть, как он ест, молча и неторопливо. Буду приходить к нему днем с термосом горячего кофе. Буду смотреть, как он пьет его, вглядываясь в горизонт. Буду замечать, как меняется цвет его глаз в зависимости от его настроения или времени суток. Буду мало знать про него и не буду стремиться узнать больше. Вечером буду засыпать в одиночестве, не дождавшись его. Буду видеть сны о кораблях, уносящих меня прочь от чертова маяка. Буду вставать на рассвете.
I'll be a lighthouse keeper. No, better his wife. I'd rise at dawn and cook him a simple meal. I'll watch him eat silently and unhurriedly. I will come to him in the afternoon with a thermos of hot coffee. I'll watch him drink it, peering into the horizon. I will notice how the color of his eyes changes depending on his mood or time of day. I will know little about him, and I will not seek to learn more. In the evening, I will fall asleep alone, not waiting for him. I will dream about ships taking me away from the damn lighthouse. I will get up at dawn.
Thank you. Я буду с тобой, пока не нужна тебе. Стану нужной, уйду. Так много дорог на земле, и по всем я пройти хочу, каменистым, песчаным, кирпичным, и погладить всех встречных собак, и взглянуть в глаза всем мужчинам, не ревнуй. Никому из них не удержать меня, и тебе не удержать меня. Но я буду с тобой, пока не нужна тебе. Стану нужной, уйду.
I'll be with you. You don't need it yet. If I am ready, I'll leave. So many roads on earth, and I want to go through all, stony, sandy, forgotten, and pet all the oncoming dogs, and look into the eyes of all men. Don't be jealous. None of them hold me back, and you can't hold me, but I will be with you until you need me. I will become necessary. If I will become necessary, I will leave. О летчиках Первой мировой. Надо сказать по поводу, сколько они выживали.
Ну, я скажу тогда на русском языке, да?
Я переведу.
Да, что в стихотворении речь идет о летчиках Первой мировой войны, асы Люфтваффе, которые сбивали огромное количество самолетов, но такие как, например, фон Рихтгофен, Эрнст Удет и так далее, но срок жизни летчиков Первой мировой составлял всего лишь несколько месяцев.
Okay. This is the poem about the fighter pilots, aces of the World War I. They were very active and successful, but life expectancy of the fighter pilot in World War I was few months, несколько месяцев, да?
Yeah.
Few months, 3-4 months, that's it. Okay.
О летчиках Первой мировой и неконтролируемой нежности. Ты говоришь, фон Рихтгофен сапог. Я говорю, он ас из асов. Ты говоришь, он не рыцарь неба. На минуточку говорю, а 80 сбитых самолетов? Эрнст Удет, говоришь? Да, говорю, Эрнст Удет. Ладно, Эрнст Удет, но он второй. У него был бар в самолете, и он застрелился. И вообще он не в моем вкусе, и ты не в моем вкусе. Ты говоришь, тебе с детства нравятся девушки с прической, как у меня, с челкой и распущенными волнистыми. Я говорю, у тебя нет шансов. Итак, летчики Первой мировой, летающие на скрипках Страдивари, поверившие в свое дурацкое небо, счастливые и гибнущие, счастливые и гибнущие. Ты говоришь, я говорю, мы говорим.
About the pilots of the World War I and uncontrolled tenderness. These are the names of the aces, fighter pilots of the World War I. You say von Richthofen is the boot. I say he is ace of aces. You say he is not a knight of heaven. Wait a minute, I say. How about 80 downed planes? Ernst Udet, you say. Yes, I say. He had a bar on the plane. And again, he created frenzy, but he's the second. Ernst Udet, you say. Okay, Ernst Udet, only he is not my type. And you are not my type. You say you like since childhood girls with a hairstyle like mine, with bangs and loose, wavy. I say you have no chance. So the pilots of World War I, Stradivarius flying on violins. Believe in yourself and into your wacky sky, happy and dying. I say, you say, we talk. Одинокая сигарета.
Thank you. Одинокая сигарета. В кофейне на Лобачевского на третьем столике справа дымится сигарета, оставленная в пепельнице. Куда спешил человек, что не дотушил ее? Почему не докурил? Почему бросил все на свете? А иногда сигарета и есть все на свете, чтобы оказаться в ином месте. Я думаю, он не попал под машину и успел добежать до любви, до рассвета, до чуда. Струйка дыма, не втянутая в легкие, тоскливо вьется над столом.
Lonely cigarette. Third table on the right at the Lobachevsky coffee house. The lonely cigarette is smoking on the table left by someone. It sadly curls above the table on the ashtray. Where was he rushing? This person who didn't extinguish it. Why didn't he finish it? Why did he leave everything in this world? But sometimes cigarette is everything in the world. Why did he leave it in order to be in the other place? I hope that he was not run over by a car, that he managed to reach his love, the sunrise, the miracle, stream of smoke, never entered the lungs, disappeared in the air forever. Киносценарий.
Попытка киносценария. В моем фильме идет дождь. Вода стекает по желобу крыши, потемневшего от бессонницы старого дома, в большую деревянную бочку. Там плавают головастики. Молчаливый старик, о нем все забыли, и грустная девочка, она станет через много лет балериной, сидят на крыльце. Она приходит к нему, потому что с ней не играют другие дети. Они мало разговаривают, пьют чай с желтым мармеладом и смотрят на озеро. Девочка про себя называет его океаном. Все в мире пока несоразмерно ей. Изредка дорогу перед крыльцом перебегает серая кошка. Ее никогда не задавит машина, она умрет тихо во сне. В фильме ничего не происходит. Старик курит папиросы и старается ни о чем не вспоминать. А девочка сидит рядом и шепотом разговаривает с куклой. В моем фильме преобладает синий цвет. Платье девочки, старый вязаный свитер старика, чашки и перила крыльца, даже струй дождя. Все синего цвета. Когда после дождя появляется солнце, но уже опускаются сумерки, старик отводит ее домой. Они идут по дороге навстречу закату. Две тени, большая и маленькая, отстают от них, не решаясь приблизиться. Возвратившись домой, старик снова садится в кресло. Рот принимает форму горизонтальной скобки. Он не плачет, просто старается не вспоминать. А в конце никогда не снятого фильма просто дорога и титры.
Attempt of a movie script. It's raining in my movie. Water streaming down the roof of an old house, dark from insomnia, into the big wooden barrel, teeming with tadpoles. Silent old man, everyone forgot about him. And the sad girl, she will become ballerina after many years. They sit on the front porch. She comes to him because other kids won't play with her. They don't talk much. They drink tea with yellow marmalade and look at the lake. To herself, girl calls it ocean. Everything in this world is still not sized for her. From time to time, gray cat crosses the road in front of the porch. She will never be run over by a car. She will die quietly in her sleep. Nothing is happening in this movie. The old man smokes his cigarette. In my movie, the blue color predominates. Girl's dress, worn knitted sweater of the man, teacups and barristers of the porch, even the rain. Everything is blue. When after the rain, sun comes out, twilight already settles down and the old man brings her home. They walk along the road facing the sunset, two shadows, big and small. They fall behind, reluctant to come closer. When he comes home, the old man sits in his chair. His mouth takes the shape of horizontal parentheses. He's not crying. He's just trying not to remember. And at the end of this never-made movie, there is simply a road and the titles.
Thank you. Thank you very much for attention. Андрей, наверное, я буду заканчивать.
No, Lily feels, well, Lily is very prolific, so she has many more beautiful poems and actually a number of translations. And lately, her publications are coming on in American journals. Я говорю, что у тебя много публикуют в последнее время.
Thank you.
Okay. Gloria.
Yes.
Okay, now we have mostly English-speaking participants, right? So maybe mostly in English, or you want some Russian also?
I would like some Russian also. It's beautiful to hear it.
Okay. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to read, because I call this parallel poems. It's not kind of direct translation, but written kind of the same poem, but in two different languages. They're somewhat different. Some of them written first in Russian, some of them written first in English. So whatever was the first language, I read it. Осенняя соната. Челси, Манчестер Юнайтед. Он на угловом диване. Курица из супермаркета. Картофельный салат немецкий с горчицей. Хайнекен Лайт. Челси случайный гол с углового. Абрамович заменит тренера, он думает. Она в городе. Раньше в мотеле с любовником. Теперь по бутикам. тише гладь. Пора, он думает, перекрасить веранду, овертайм, еще банка пива. Она снова не отвечает. Мобильник в машине. Не забыть от давления ему. Она в бланик до закрытия. Обменять туфли. Листва желтеет, изумруд под утро. Гуд пригородного состава. Метро Норth в холодеющем осеннем воздухе, пропадающий на пути к дальнему острову навсегда. The reason I read it because this is as close to American poem as Russian poem could be. It's kind of a hybrid of the blank verse, free verse. In Russian, it kind of works in Russian. Metro North, Chelsea, Manchester United. He's on the corner sofa, roasted chicken from the tops, German-style potato salad, Heineken Light, Chelsea, an accidental goal served from the corner. Abramovich will sack the manager again, he thinks. She's in the city way back, in the motel by LaGuardia with her lover, then lunch at Sheraton, now boutiques in Soho, dead calm, he thinks, time to treat the porch. Overtime, one more Heineken, calls her again and again, phones in the car, she remembers, pick up Lopressor for him, Blanik before close, leaves grow rusty. Emerald mornings, echo from Metro North, dying in crisp autumn air, dying on the way to the invisible islands. VA, Veterans Administration. My first job in the US was at the VA Medical Center. Nights of the boxed breath and the smell of stale piss, chain smokers, the collapsed lobes overgrown by relentless pink matter, laryngless vets talking in robot voices, emaciated black guys in the men's room, puffing through the tracheostomy tubes, a burnt unit survivor hit by kamikaze at the very end. The young Jewish doctors were rotating for a year or two, running around with syringes, dispensing chemotherapy, then disappearing into the green sponge of the suburban universe. My way back to the new rented home was graced by a sunset that touched crosses on the descending lawn by the soldiers' home, lit up Rock Creek for a few minutes, lingered pensively in the tree crowns over the mansions at Connecticut Avenue, then went underground somewhere in Pennsylvania. Around was the darkness, punctuated by a dialogue between the towers on the flagships, the Naval Hospital and the Mormon Temple, guiding the large cargo planes, gliding through the black milk of the night breath toward Andrews Air Force Base. Crossing the line. I'm sorry, I forgot. It exists in Russian. This is a little different because language pulls it more toward more traditional syllabotonic verse. This is VA poem. Администрации ветеранов, окостеневшие ведомства, госпиталь, крепость на останках пожарища, калеки Вьетнама от времени в бегстве, под утро в палатах с наркотиком тающим, там Марлборо газ, пожирающий легкие, там роботов речь через трубки гортанные. Я помню лицо обгорелого летчика, который коснулся крылом камикадзе, и юных врачей, полуночное бдение, надежды и письма в Москву покаянные, в искусственном воздухе, словно растения, те лица статичны на расстоянии, четверть столетия, любви и рассеяния, покоя в потере последнего дома, но себя осознания в каждой потере и со временем найденный временный дом. Я помню, сквозь темный раствор охранительные плывут вертолеты на базу в Вирджинию. Так память смывает черту ватерлинии между двумя несравнимыми жизнями. Crossing the line. The world was glistening inside my soft universe. In the filigreed web of warmth, pulsating and feeding my unborn hopes, tentacles of attachments, frustrations, death. I could have been a father, a sister, carpenter, savior, the judge, an executioner. My actuarial survival was not yet registered. The winds of unknowing caressed my mother's skin, and the pain was vanishing because I didn't exist anymore. I was not accounted for, and still brothers and sisters, we were bonded and floating together in the shared hardship. For only you could appreciate my gift to you, my silent grace, my gentle beauty, dignity, and what I would not have done to the world. And remember, there are others for whom not only I, but also you are a mistake. Я прочту, I'll read a Moscow poem. It was written actually in Russian, but then I translated and published in English. It's very Moscow, kind of a nostalgic poem about Moscow. Ничего не осталось, лишь июньская пухом метель, еще пару пивных до трамвая кольцо за заставой, да в заросших дворах над площадкой футбольная пыль. Ну а что мне еще? Слава Богу, что это осталось. И кому там понять, кому вспомнить, кому загрустить? Нет, ни детство, ни юность, все мимо. Голубятня сгорела, потерялась суровая нить и покрыт чешуей мертвый пластик IV Рима. Ничего не осталось. И кому там взахлебе понять? Белый город покрасит мелкой сетью охранных надзоров, но свободна моя по бульварам бредущая память. Только следом летит незамеченный в сумерках ворон. Moscow walk. There is nothing left. Still flows snowfall of the poplar fir, a couple of watering holes, the tram's end station beyond the city line, soccer dust in overgrown courtyards. What else? Thank God it's still there. Then who'll understand, who'll remember, who'll turn sad, childhood, youth sailed away, a dovecote burned down, broken memory thread, and the cold scales covered the dead plastic of the fourth Rome. Nothing's left. And who will grasp this white city is covered with tight net of the security watch. Still, my free memory walks along Moscow Boulevard ring, but the dark raven follows me unnoticed in the twilight. Letter. What's left of me? The same accent, scar on the palm, stacks of books in my room, that cloudy hemisphere where music stumbles off the chorus of voices. I think I'm in peace now, at least with future memories. As for the past, I only feel the touch of light sadness, like those wails of fog left in the park along the road. Only light sadness, as I drive passing the crisp suburban fall landscapes of the northern south, the frozen green grass seen only around here, soft burns of pumpkins, fragmented clouds of the Halloween web trembling in the wind, iced firewood stacked at the door of the small store. Police car, lights dormant, secluded in the Lord. Braid of little girls like a thread of black pearls, spilling from an old brick school building, ready for the snow. You see, that was a different layer of life. It's over now. 2 memories away. We both breathe the same cold air on the opposite sides of the transparent wall, like a sliding door in a suburban apartment. And you are still coming, looking from the other side, your lips moving. I think I know what you're saying to me, but with you, I'm never sure. Письмо. Все тоже осталось во мне, все тоже осталось, все тот же акцент и шрам на руке, и та же усталость, и книжный развал на полу, и музыка шума, и наши бездомные встречи проносятся мимо, машины дорогой на север, знакомой дорогой, ведущей навстречу любви и судьбе, вдоль речки сквозь годы по зоне газонов, уже изумрудных под утро, и капли плывут по стеклу задумчивой ртутью. Это Хэллоуин, паутина на небе, на окнах, на страже, патрульной машины сирена. И все это наше, подаренный жизни случайный кусок, погашенный, нежный. Так кончился этот безжалостный век. Другой безмятежный не нам обещает приют какой-то там доли, природа там, северный юг, лианы у школы, и пьяница с виски дешевым стоит на пороге, и выдох холодный с реки, лишь память о снеге. Я помню ту жизнь, параллельную жизнь за преградой, за тонкой прозрачной стеной остывшего сада, как будто подходишь ты снова и медленно шепчешь, и слов не понять ничего, но от этого легче, и я разбираю как будто движение губ, безмолвное меццо. Я долго смотрю и смотрю, и бьется к тебе ожившее сердце. So, couple of more, Gloria.
Yes, please.
Okay. This is from little chapbook just recently. One nice magazine published for me. Okay, this is called German Rug. This is actually a true thing, and my grandfather brought it from Germany, from war, 1945. German rug. Captured rug, milk stain, I'm 5, sore throat, light stain of Soviet champagne, my father's young, 1955 New Year's. The rug's eternal, sturdy German job. Deep in the texture, traces of the German family. Brandenburg, Silesia, along the advance of the 33rd Red Army, 3rd Belarusian Front. Now we're all relatives with an unknown, untraceable German family. Captured rug. Okay. Empty House by Hudson. It actually exists. It's on the River Road by Hudson River in North Creek, upstate New York. House abandoned, even traces of souls evaporated. No one will die there anymore. Nobody prepares the bed. I'm just a passerby, incidental traveler, and I'm calm, my return secured. For some reason, my soul's in this empty house. It calls, come back to the dark corners, to dust. This is my regular stroll, passing the house, passing myself on the road unknown. Пустой дом у Гудзона. В заброшенном доме, где души истлели, никто не умрет, никто не постелит постели. Я мимо пройду, случайный ходок, неудачник. Одно утешение, полет мой обратно оплачен, но, впрочем, и там пыль в заброшенном доме. Душа же туда почему-то и чем-то влекома. Вот так и проходит прогулка то мимо пустынного дома, то мимо себя самого. Дорога моя незнакома. Okay. Long Beach Island. So people from East Coast probably know Long Beach Island, right? Yeah. For some reason, the favorite place for people from New Jersey for vacations and all. The thing is that this is one of the long sand barrier islands. There are some in North Carolina, South Carolina, and all this that kind of appear, disappear, and they move actually. And so, and then when there's a hurricane, it's the most dangerous place to be. Long Beach Island. You peel shrimp. It's my favorite, actually. You peel shrimp, all you can eat. Seagulls on the sidewalk tear apart yesterday's investors' business daily. By the closed, dead, bolted ice cream joint. We sit by the window in a small seafood shack. Local fish, hearty chowder, lobster tail on sale, salt and golden fish and chips piled up, freckled 16-year-olds in short quasi-Catholic uniforms, Irish, Italian stock, up for 8 hours straight, daughters of maritime provinces, eating sea salt for breakfast, born and raised on quicksand, on moving islands, islands catching fire at sunset, non-existent land where ships couldn't find the strait to lend the helping hand to the brothers and sisters. Burnt offerings of the pilgrim settlements, drowning in the wetlands, cod, haddock, grouper, scales by the cold firing, the last rites of prayer in the candlelight as the last ray touches landscape in a cathedral of the sky, as now the sunset touches the face of my unknown child across the table. Thank you. Okay, I'll read in Russian. I think it kind of worked out in Russian, but it was first, this is first written in English. Long Beach Island. Креветки на распродаже. Безумные чайки рвут Уолл-стрит Journal на пирсе. Забитые ставни ловчонки, жарище на пляже, горячий песок и ползущие дюны без леса. Но рыбные лавки открыты, омар, лососина, хрустящий картофель с треской, британское счастье. Причалы пропахли мазутным, горючим и тиной, и весь городок лишь мишень рокового несчастья. Здесь россыпь девчонок в веснушках, словно песчинки, спорхнет и исчезнет в сидеющем облаке соли. И жизнь незаметно, как деньги, проносится мимо, как стая газет по парковке замерзшему полю. С Атлантики ветер, и остров, как Атлантида, уходит под воду, чтоб снова подняться барьером и вновь защитить колонистов от гиблого ига. Потом все стихает и долго ракочет на север, но остров горит, словно взорванный на закате, и бриз на ничейной соленой земле горько свежий. Сюда не дошли соплеменники Веры на легком фрегате. В болоте и плавнях пропала с командой надежда, но вновь католическим блеском зажглись и остались заморские лица ирландско-ливанского склада. Потом расселились и слились, и тянутся мили слепых городков, тоскливых мотелей и складов. Но лишь прикоснется дыхание вечернего света, остывшего свода в огромном темнеющем храме. Лицо через стол от меня освещает утрата несбывшейся дочери лик в исчезающей раме. Okay, I think the last one. Well, it's a kind of think that's about time now to read this poem. I read it many times, but the Holocaust never occurred. It's a matter of perception and logical reasoning, said a young, tall guy, PhD from MIT in artificial intelligence, sitting on the floor with Merlot at a literary party in Cambridge, Massachusetts. A condescending hint was flickering in his mocking brown eyes of the half-blood. And if it did, said something softening the point, his girlfriend, a knockout Harvard law in tight Donna Carter corduroys. It's not virtually irrelevant anymore. The train is gone, so to speak. I got up and left the building so not to smash his precious head with a Walmart folding chair. That night, I woke up in my childhood, Moscow, January frozen precipice. Through frosted window, a huge poster, people and party are united, held still by a projector. My grandma behind the wall, tossing and turning in her bed, sobbing, the usual, remembering her mother and three sisters, their fading smiles on the old photo from a letter. In her nightmare, their last supper of bread and carrot tea, night before disappearance into historical irrelevance. Lodz, 1943, melting gray snow, charred carcasses, monstrous panzer, roaring pointlessly at one spot, Polish policemen warming up in the yard, passing vodka around, cold lard and cigarette stubs. Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła, póki my żyjemy. This is from the old Polish national anthem. Okay, thank you, Gloria.
Thank you, Andrey. And thank you, Liliya, for a wonderful reading. And Andrey, that last poem, oh, really got to me. So Andrey, would you like to share with the audience about March 6th, please?
Okay, so March 6th, by gracious invitation from Cervena Barva Press, I was trying hard to find the words when I sending it to my soulmates. What is it? It's a publishing house, a magazine, a website, a project. In other words, Gloria Minda. Anyway, graciously invited us to present our Russian poetry, international Russian poetry magazine, Interpoesia, which exists. It's going to be soon 20 years. 18 years, 20 years. So yes. We'll have reading of 5 poets, who 3 of them are members of the editorial board. Liliya is one of the key figures in our endeavor, and 3 other great poets who are active authors. The reading will be in Russian with some English translations, maybe 2, 3, sort of like now, bilingual. I mean, we live in a multilingual, crazy global world, so it will be bilingual. So with 5 poems, I'll speak a little bit about the magazine, about the idea of the magazine. As a matter of fact, it was conceived by me many years ago, more than 20 years ago, as the bilingual magazine, sort of half in Russian, half in English, parallel and all that. Then after a year or so, I abandoned that idea because it was just, there are so few people who know English well, so few Americans who know Russian. And so it was, and the poetic tradition and poetic expression is so different. So we publish a lot of translations, especially translations from English and contemporary American poetry. And the essays, for instance, Baron Wormser, who is one of the members of the society now, he has wonderful essays which we publish regularly in our magazine and in translation on American poetry and international poetry and whatnot. A lot of contemporary poetry. I'm trying to. It's not only sort of emigre poetry from Russian people who write in Russian living outside, but from everywhere. Of course, there is some emphasis on poets who live outside of Russia, because it's much harder for them to get published in Russia, especially now. Okay, and our editorial board, Liliya and I, were trying to attract new, younger authors. As a matter of fact, we just had a fantastic contest was limited to poets who are below 30, younger than 30, which is really young poets nowadays. Okay, it's not old times like Evariste Galois and Mikhail Lermontov, but below 30 is really young poets. And we were bombarded with poetry, and some of them is excellent. So we selected short list, I believe, Lily, was it 6 poets? 6 there on that short list. Excellent poetry of people who are not even 30 yet. So we're trying to make it interesting and unusual. Okay.
Thank you, Andrey. And I hope you will join us. And can we please give Andrey and Liliya another round of applause? Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for coming.